So let's talk about Gout Gout. And of course, he's been all in the news over the past, of course, weekend, but also the past couple of weeks. And then, of course, the entire year. It's going to be a little bit different video. I'll talk a little bit about the results and some of the history, but I want to talk about why this actually connects with us a little bit. So this past weekend, 16-year-old Gout Gout, he broke the Australian national record in the 200 running 20.04 seconds. Now that took down the 56-year-old record set by Peter Norman all the way back at the 1968 Olympic Games in Mexico City when he won a silver medal behind Tommy Smith and ahead of John Carlos. That was by far, I think, one of the oldest national records on the books in the entire sport. I think Haiti's long jump record might be the only older record. Maybe there's some others, but I don't know. Even more importantly though, Peter Norman's 20.06 was set at altitude, while Gout Gout was, of course, set at sea level. And even more importantly than that, Gout Gout is only 16 years old. So, yes, his 20.04 is, of course, faster than Usain Bolt or Arian Nain, faster than they ran when they were 16 years old. And yes, he's been getting the label as the next Usain Bolt, right? Everyone has been saying that. But even the day before, he actually ran a windy 10.04, which is, I think, the fast all conditions 100-meter time for a 16-year-old apparently. But instead of just, again, talking about his potential, his times, what he could run and all that, I actually find the most interesting is the why behind we're getting so excited about Gout Gout. And I mean, right, some things are clear on the surface. He's young, he's fast. The fact that he is barely a teenager and he's dropping these historic times, it's an immediate shock of I literally just can't believe that this happened. The video of him in the 100 meters, it literally looks to me like the second half is sped up. It's 2 times speed or something crazy like that. That's how insane it is. But he also, it's exciting because he has so much personality. He signed with Adidas and he's technically a pro already, but because he's still developing, he's still young, I feel like he's able to just truly express himself in a way that, I don't know, many pro athletes, all due respect, right? Some of them just aren't able to do for various reasons. And seeing him get so excited after his races, I don't know, to me, that's just a straight joy to watch. On top of that, he is still learning and he's still growing. Literally, he's tall, he's lanky, he doesn't have the greatest start by the traditional measures. And I'm sure internet coaches, right, they're going to be breaking down his form and explaining why he needs to fix every little thing. But I don't know, that's actually what I think makes us fall in love with Gout Gout. He's not this perfect model sprinter. He's a 16-year-old kid with tons of talent, and he's going to be out there being the best that he can be, even if he doesn't have perfect sprinting form. He's not Asafa Powell or Tyson Gay. That's perfectly okay. Maybe he'll get there one day, but watching him learn the sport and develop into a better athlete, having fun along the way, that's part of the excitement that we get from actually watching him on the track. Another thing that I do think excites us is because he's someone we've never seen before. And I say that in relation to him being Australian specifically. He's not American. He's not Jamaican. He's not Nigerian or British or from some other Caribbean or African nation. He's from a country that traditionally has not had top sprinters, let alone a generational talent being called the quote-unquote next Usain Bolt. Remember, that 200-meter record was set all the way back in 1968, and it wasn't even a sub 20-second time. Fun fact, Oceania, and of course Australia, is the only World Athletics area that does not have any sprinter who has broken 20 seconds in the 200 meters. And they only have a single athlete who has ever broken 10 seconds on one occasion in the 100-meter dash. So it's clearly exciting for the track world to see an Australian, an athlete from Oceania. They have a rising star now entering the wider global conversation in the sprints. But all of that is generally surface level. And this is where I'm going to dive in a little, I don't know if it's conceptually, but these are just my, particular feelings when I'm talking about Gout Gout. What I really think truly makes him an exciting athlete is the fact that he almost gives the track and field community and track and field fans a feeling of both kind of nostalgia as well as some hope for the future. Gout Gout allows us to kind of look back at moments when we were shocked at a historic performance, when we had a feeling of, I don't know, what did we just see, right? As I kind of alluded to a little bit earlier, there's a reason that when a young talent like Gout Gout or, I don't know, let's see, like Boho or, Arian Nain, when they run these historical times, the community comes around and asks yo, are they the next Usain Bolt? That conversation always comes up because it brings us back to a moment when Bolt ran 9.69 seconds, banging his chest, across the line in Beijing. Or even when, Bolt ran that 19.19, pointing down at the Berlin track saying, this is a slow track. Those were the conversations happening before Berlin. Those from a generation before may have even looked at Bolt's 200-meter performance in Beijing and kind of reminisce on Michael Johnson's legendary 200-meter record all the way back in Atlanta. And those before looked at Tommy Smith in Mexico City and before and back and all that stuff. Young prodigies like Gout Gout, they allow us to tap into our memories, right? To go back to those historical moments and literally almost relive performances we thought were almost impossible. And that translates directly to this idea of hope that Gout Gout and other young athletes give us. It's this hope that one day we can see something that we have never seen before, or see an impossible record one day taken down, or, give us this hope that others will be able to follow suit and, take the event or take the sport to another level and be even faster and faster. And honestly, it gives us kind of this reassurance that the sport of track and field is actually working and we might actually be making some progress overall. Now, hear me out. One of the most disappointing things that I think is kind of this recent conversation of track and field struggling, right? Or the sport is dying, or no one is watching. We'll never be able to see a breakthrough with the sport. That's, kind of been the conversation for what seems like a couple years now, especially in this post-Usain Bolt era of not only sprinting, but again, the sport as a whole. Though I generally have never agreed with this idea, blanketly as an idea, I also, to a degree, can understand why fans, athletes, and others in our sport have had that feeling. But when we see someone like a Gout Gout throw down an amazing performance like he did just this past weekend in Australia, that's not at an Olympics or at a World Championships, but the entire track and field community kind of comes together for a moment to celebrate what just happened. This not only gives us that momentary excitement, but it also gives us a glimmer of hope that maybe our sport of track and field isn't actually broken. Maybe things are working as they should, or maybe this is just a sign of progress towards something really special in the future. And no, let me be clear. I'm not saying that this one single performance and this one single weekend from a young athlete is going to save the sport, or if we just had a bunch of amazing performances that, we would fix all the problems that exist in track and field. No, not saying all that. But I do think that when we see a moment like this, just like we did this weekend with Gout Gout, it does remind us of the great things that our sport has to offer. And even, when things may not look as great on the surface, we can expect something special to be coming around the corner. So, I don't know, getting a little deep, but I don't know if that's too deep, but just my thoughts. Didn't want to get too crazy, but I don't know. I just don't love the kind of comparisons of the next Usain Bolt, quote unquote, but Gout Gout is special. And I think this weekend, it was a moment for track and field in terms of the community as a whole. And we seldom kind of come together outside of World or Olympics. So I did want to just kind of dive in a little bit about that. So let me know what you thought about Gout Gout and his amazing performances and his records down in Australia. And let me know if you agree with my overall thinking of why we get excited about Gout Gout or any other young, athlete putting down these historical performances, right? Whenever they come around year after year after year. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Always appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.